Hello everybody, welcome back to the fourth and final part of our straw harvest how-to series. In this part, we're going to take a look at the Krone Premos 5000 pellet press. Part 1, we took a look at all the buildings that are part of the straw harvest pack. Part 2, we took a look at the 2 balers and BaleCollect that is available with the straw harvest pack. And Part 3, we talked about bale collection using the 3 bale grabs that are included with the pack. This, I have to say, is probably the most unique piece of machinery that is a part of straw harvest. That, again, is a Krone Premos 5000 straw and hay pellet press. Let's take a look at this in the shop. We're going to go to Mods and DLCs, straw harvest pack. And once again, we have the Premos 5000, $320,000 to buy. It's going to require 350 horsepower tractor to operate, 9,000 liter storage capacity of pellets inside, and then 6 mile per hour working speed. We do have a few configuration options. We can add a license plate to the rear, and we can also configure it to either refill supplies manually, like we did with the balers in part 2 of our series, or we can configure it to automatic, where it will just automatically add molasses and water to the press as it is needed. So you don't have to worry about consumables. That is a $10,000 upgrade as far as configuration options go. For this video, we're going to leave it set to manual. In addition, we're going to take a look at the bale shredder here in a little bit. This is an attachment that we can buy to add to the pellet press so we can operate it in a stationary format where we place bales of straw or hay onto the conveyor belt, and then the bale shredder will shred those directly into the pellet press to be made into pellets. This is a $31,900 add-on, and then we will need a pallet of molasses, $210 to buy. We can get it in capacities of 480 liters, 80, 160, 240, 320, 400, and then back to 480. We're going to go ahead and fill this up with water, 500 liters of water. And then it's going to hold some molasses as well. There we are, loading her up. And while this is loading up, something really cool that I found with this pellet press, we hit X. We can fold and unfold the ladder here at the rear. A neat little animation. So it is full when it has 500 liters worth of water and 200 liters worth of molasses. Now, as far as attaching the bale shredder, the bale shredder is going to go to the right side of the machine, and we're going to present the baler or the bale shredder to the press by coming up here where it says Premos 5000 and making sure we have the yellow roller of the bale shredder, and then we're going to be able to hit Q, and we have an animation, and it just connects right there. If we ever want to disconnect, we just hit Q again, and there we go. Once this is connected, we can unfold it by hitting X. We have a really cool animation of this whole contraption unfolding and locking into place. And then at that point, we can turn it on, and we would be able to shred bales by placing bales on the conveyor belt. They will then slowly be pulled over. There's a contraption here to cut and collect all of the twine on the bale. Then it's going to go into the bale shredder, then through the press and into the hopper. But that's getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's fold this thing up for now and take it out in the field and show it in operation, making some straw pellets. Now, for in-field operation, we're going to need to have the bale shredder disconnected. go ahead and lower our pickup down. And we'll turn this whole machine on. And what we're going to do is we're going to now collect our straw or hay. We're going to chop that up, mix it up with the water and molasses, and then we're going to basically form these little pellets. And we're going to deposit these pellets into our hopper. Again, this is not the fastest process. Personally, I always preferred to make my pellets in stationary mode. Typically, the gameplay I would do is I would go through the normal year of baling straw, baling hay, using the square baler, store some of those bales in the pellet hall, and then over winter, I would go down to the pellet hall and spend the day basically making pellets out of those bales by using the bale shredder, and then eventually making pallets of pellets using the pelletizer. And that is pretty much the process that we would take if we were, again, using hay as well. We would just take this out to the field, lower it down, and run it over the windrow. And as long as we had molasses, as long as we had water in the press, we would be able to make our pellets. Now, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to go and run this pellet press directly into the cow building, where we're going to be able to unload this into our straw trigger. So we're going to hit O to bring out the conveyor belt. And you'll see now we are directly unloading. We had over 3,000 liters of straw pellets. We're adding that. You see we're getting our straw plane. And if we go now to our animal menu, you'll see that we now have 4,000 liters. What? I thought you said we only had 3,000 liters of straw pellets. How do we have 6,428 liters of now 7,674 liters of straw pellets if we only had 3,000 liters in this machine? Well, that is because the pellets are compressed. You get more product in a compressed pellet than you would loose. But when adding hay pellets and straw pellets to your animal areas, you're getting the uncompressed benefit. So we put 3,000 liters in. We got over 12,000 liters listed here in the straw plane for our cows. So there was, at one point in time, a penalty for feeding hay pellets and using straw pellets in our animal pens, because we wouldn't get the uncompressed benefit. We would get the compressed fill type amount added. But that is different with respect to Farm Sim 22. We're going to see that also when we add hay pellets as a food source for our cows. And to do that, we're going to make use of the bale shredder. So once again, we're going to come over here and connect our bale shredder. Again, remember, we're going to present the right side of the Premos to the bale shredder where we have the yellow roller. And we're going to get a connect. And we have two options. We can do this outside or inside the pellet hall. Right now, I just want to go ahead and do this outside. So let's go ahead and unfold this. And it's going to make this easier if we come in here to our settings, and if we turn off, automatic engine start. That way our engine will continue to be running regardless if we are in the tractor or not. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on. We're going to jump out. take these straps off. And I have a skid steer in here. The skid steer is an awesome piece of machinery for the pellet haul because it will be able to get around in tight spaces. Let's grab a bale and place it on the conveyor belt. Like that. While that's running, let's go and grab another bale. These bales are 7,250 liters each as far as capacity. So we're adding 14,500 liters worth of hay into our pellet press with these two bales. And we'll see how much we get as far as an output. So there we have that piece of machinery item that's going across the bale there. That was, in theory, removing the strings from the baler, or from the bale. And we are just about running this into now our bale shredder. We are shredding a bale. Product is going into the press. We're making our hay pellets as we speak. So I want to just kind of focus here on our conveyor belt because I want to show you the animation of it dragging across the bale. It's in theory collecting the string, and then it's going to wind that string up. That way we don't get the string into our bale shredder. So the first bale is gone, and we now have just around 2,000 liters of hay pellets in the machine. And then we're going to go and put these hay pellets over there for the cows. And we'll see how much we get back out of this thing. Remember, we're putting 14,500 liters worth of hay into the machine via the conveyor belts. Pretty cool mechanic. So we can fold up our belt now. Because we now have 3,589 pellets. So 14,500 got made into 3,589. Hit O. And of course you can unload, if you're in the field, unload this over into a trailer, right? We just simply did not demonstrate that when we were making our pellets in the field. So now if we check out this animal area, you see we have over 5,000 liters of hay in there, yet we only had 3,000 pellets. Pretty cool way of basically storing pellets, because obviously you could store pellets in pallets of 2,000, or you could store pellets if you had a silo that stored them, You can store them a lot easier in pellet format as opposed to bale format or possibly loose. So we now have 11,250 liters of hay in our exterior pen. Now the way I like to use this is again inside the pellet hall. It can be a little tricky to back this machine in and get it all lined up. So let's see how we can do that here. Basically we can place it such that we'll be able to overload directly into the pelletizer hopper from our press. We're going to hit O. Make sure we have that unfolded. We're going to back that in. And then we're going to unfold our bale conveyor. We're going to turn it all on. And then we're going to go to town. Basically, loading bales into our machine. Again, use whatever piece of machinery you are most comfortable with, but skid steer, in my opinion, is best suited for this. We're going to use our New Holland bale grab to take these other bales off the trailer. Why to grab those, right? Very, very quick operation. And again, these can be stored on the right side of the pellet hall. Easy enough. Interesting factoid. Back in Farming Simulator 17, I used auto-load trailers a lot to move bales around from the field and such. And then straw harvest came out. And as soon as straw harvest came out with these bale grabs, I pretty much immediately stopped using auto-load to load up my bales out of the field, and at that point I just started using the bale grabs to do that process, because I felt it was, one, it was a little bit more realistic, and that's the way I kind of like to play, and two, it wasn't that big of a deal to collect those bales and put them on the trailer anymore. Alright, this is now the last of those 9 bales to be loaded into the machine. Alright, we can watch this really cool process continue as we shred our bales. We make our pellets. Our pellets are then offloaded into this hopper, which is now full, which then fills up this hopper, which is now full, which then bags pellets into various bags. You see so far we've made 117 bags, 2 full pallets. We've got enough supply to run another 12 minutes. That's just in this machine, let alone the supply in that machine and the supply in this machine. Again, from part 1, remember we had the pelletizer, which alternates the layers by rotating select bags And then once a layer is done, the bags are pushed onto a tray that then deposits them onto the pallet. Once the pallet is then made, moves down these rollers, basically outside into here. Then it is wrapped, and now it is ready for shipment. We can hold a total of 3 pallets in here before the machine basically shuts down. And from here we can store those pallets. We can sell those pallets of pellets, or we could feed those pallets of pellets. And this is kind of why the skid steer, I think, is king in this building, because it's much smaller and much easier to get around than a large tractor like this. So we've demonstrated selling them already at the sell point in part 1. We've fed pellets directly out of the press earlier, and let's go ahead and feed pellets here in this building. 2,000 pellets. Well, they have now been expanded out into 8,000 liters worth of hay. So guys, that is it. That is basically straw harvest in a nutshell. We have several buildings, 3 different variants of the pellet haul, with the most sophisticated variant being the pelletizer pellet haul. We have 2 balers, a round baler and a square baler. The square baler has the ability to collect the bales and deposit them on the field 3 bales at a time. We have 3 different bale grabs included in the pack for your bale transport. And then lastly, we have the pellet press that is going to be able to make hay and straw pellets. We can use the straw pellets at our heating plant or as bedding, and we can use our hay pellets as either food or sell them at either sell point that we put down, or depending if the map includes a sell point for them. Overall, we get more functionality.